Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome back to another edition of NBC's 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall, but on today's edition, I'm talking to WWE Hall of Famer, World Champion, Rob Van Dam. Please don't sue me for doing the hand thing, please.
Dude, can you imagine how much bank I would have if everybody was liable every time they did this to pay me some money?
Have you ever tried to trademark that, though?
Well, no, the thought comes to my mind when I see another celebrity do it, because my fans will send it to me when it's a golfer, football player, somebody, whoever that's a fan, when they score a goal or whatever they do, and they do that, and it's flattering to know that they're a fan of mine and I made it popular. But I don't know about if you did the history of it, you could find somebody that might have done it before. Every once in a while, I see a picture of Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, and he's doing the side version.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute! I thought I made that up, but I see him doing that. So it's hard to be original, and that's something I've been fortunate with throughout my career. Is there's so many ways I've been able to approach the business differently, with different moves and just a whole different mindset and approach. But I've always been kind of fascinated with that there's still room to find a move that nobody's seen before, when it's the same two-legged wrestlers in there with four sides to a ring for decades.
Right. It is interesting. But go back to what you said a second ago. DDP got Jay-Z into trouble because Jay-Z started using the diamond sign and Diamond Dallas Page trademark. That's why I asked, have you ever looked into or tried to trademark the hand with the thumbs?
I have not. No, it comes up in conversations like this, and that's as far as it goes.
Oh, man. People are stealing money from Rob Van Dam right now. By the way, I love your background. It's distracting at times. I see blues, I see greens. That's a cool background. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. Got a really cool house here in Las Vegas. The people that owned it before us were really good designers, with a certain flavor that we really appreciate, and we took over, and we have so much fun just recreating rooms and into other rooms. We had a front room that was like a little coffee room or something. It's now a strip club.
Is that the pictures I see randomly pop up of Rob being the ladies' man?
Could be. I mean, I do that in several locations, but that could be. Could be here in our club.
It could be. That's very interesting. Now, recently, though, you showed up in Pro Wrestling Noah, and how did this deal come together? Because obviously, you've wrestled in so many different organizations, but now you're here doing this. Is this something that's going to keep happening, or is this a one-time deal?
Well, so it looks like it's very likely that it will keep happening. I've already gone back, so I wrestled there June 12th, and then I came back on July the 16th, just a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about maybe returning in January. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I love wrestling in Japan. I started wrestling there in '93. A fan there that every wrestler knows, this Fan Masa. We all know this guy. He had the whole breakdown for me of this was the 22nd time that I had been to Japan, and he had the breakdown how many times I'd been to that building, the Nippon Budokan, and how many times I was there with All Japan, and then FMW, and then New Japan, and IWGP, and WWE, and all these different companies. So it's pretty cool, and I have a lot of history there. And the wrestling is it's so much better. Like, I was watching the other matches, and I was really proud to be part of that. It was so different.
What makes it better in your eyes?
It was actually like wrestling. A lot of people complain now that the newer generation kind of got away from wrestling, and now it's just about stunts and flying or whatever, and diving onto 80 people catching you. The more people that catch you, the better. It seems like the bigger spot. I don't know, but man, Muto, the fabulous Muto, he's retiring. He's got 5 matches left, And this match a few nights ago, a couple weeks ago, that was one of his last 5. And I watched him wrestle. I don't want to brutalize the kid's name that he wrestled, and you wouldn't probably know him unless you follow, the product, Noah, Kiyoyo or Kiyoshi, I don't know. But anyway, man, these guys put on a clinic. Like it was so good. And it was like the story that they told, man, I hadn't seen anything like that in years. It wasn't, they barely even like hit the ropes and stuff. It was like Muda going for his trademark leg drag, and he would go to do it, and the kid would stop him and then get him in a move. And man, they would work their way up for that, work their way up, bam, bam, bam. He goes for it again. This time, he's going to get it. Boom, he gets stopped, right back into it. And they just worked that leg lock and that leg drag, and they made so much sense out of it, and it was built so that every little thing meant so much. And I was humbled, actually. I'd already wrestled, and I felt not worthy. Like the fans were over appreciative of my match. I had a hardcore match that night, and it was a tag team match. When you're tag team instead of a singles match, if you compare that to a normal job, a lot of times if you're a singles match, that's like being the waiter, the cashier, the busboy, and the cook at the same time. Yeah. And when you're a tag partner, not so.
Oh my God, that's very interesting, because the styles that you bring into wrestling and still do today, obviously people have borrowed and mimicked it, but you hitting a 5-star frog splash would sell it. You'd be, I'm hurt, versus hit a frog splash, now give it up, hit this move, get up, hit this move, get up, hit this move. So obviously the style of wrestling has changed. So would the Rob Van Dam of, say, the 90s fit in today's world of moves, move, drop, move, drop, move, drop?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still going, and most of the shots I do are like one shots here and there, mostly overseas, because of the budget of most shows and just how it works out. But one thing is, I don't feel like I need to adapt. You know what I mean? Like after all the time that I've put in to the industry, changes that are obvious to the product now, a lot of them I don't like. Like I consider them flaws, things that I would rather fix if somebody cared to listen, or wanted my opinion on that. So it would, it's always been about, you bring what you bring to the table, I bring what I bring, and let's mash it up and see what we get. Every match is a compromise, because you're not wrestling a clone of yourself. It's 2 different brains, 2 different ideas, 2 different egos. So I don't really think it would be a problem necessarily, but if somebody wanted to pop right up after I hit him with a Van Daminator, they're not going to want to catch the next one.
So interesting you say that. So in today's wrestling world, do you feel underappreciated because you brought a style that was completely different from the rest of the world? But do you feel like when a fan tells you how great you are, like I agree how great you are, a lot of people do, but do you feel underappreciated with today's fans?
Not really. I feel like I had my career, although I'm still wrestling, it's like, definitely got to be towards the end of it. I don't have any goals that are unaccomplished or things that I want to do, except for, hey, this is what I do, still in phenomenal shape. Bam. And so, why not? It is part of who I am. And there's always, you're not really famous if you don't have some haters. You know what I mean? There's got to be some people there that say, I don't get it. Why does everyone make a big deal about him? I think he's overrated, and that's all part of it. But I don't think that I think that people appreciate who I am or what I did. Sometimes they even need reminded, and they'll be like, oh man, you know what, dude, you were my favorite wrestler. But it might not stick out in their mind that I was really their favorite, because of the programming that was pushed down their head with the characters that they really remember. But then when they really think about it, I get a lot of love everywhere I go. So I can't imagine feeling underappreciated.
I can't imagine anyone ever saying something bad about Rob Van Dam. Like, I can't imagine during the time you were the WWE, even in TNA and beyond, that someone would say like, "Oh, that was a bad Rob Van Dam match." I don't. It personally, for me, that's not possible because what you brought to the table, the moves, the styles, everything you did. But let's talk about some other projects besides wrestling. You got a YouTube channel, and Rob Van Dam on YouTube is either a blessing or a curse because this could turn into craziness. Rob Van Dam loose on the internet. Right. So let's talk about it. What are you offering for content on YouTube right now?
So I've had this page for a long time. And I took like a 13-year break or something. started using it again like about a year ago or so. And it's how to keep current with me. It's at The Real RVD, just like all my social media. And you know, we're talking about this trip I did to Japan. Well, I filmed the trip, you know, and edit a nice little highlights of it. You can see me in the ring. You can see me in Japan on the trip, and did the same thing with the last one. And that's part of what I do. I have fun with that. Enjoy. I actually edit the little videos myself. It's a fun little app on my phone. Before that, me and Godfather took a trip to Illinois, and they're fun videos to make and to watch, and you keep up with me there. But plus, we are also like adding matches to it. So every week there's a few new matches, nice. And there's also archive footage, old stuff that I find. There's still a ton of stuff that I haven't put on that I'm excited about putting on. You know, I used to do this thing called a Tweet Secret. I've always enjoyed filming myself. I used to do RVD TV before that, but a Tweet Secret, this thing like never took off, but it was like a monthly subscription service that a bunch of celebrities took part in, where you record little videos and edit it. It was the exact same thing, but it was one of my returns to WWE. I think it was the 2013 return. Okay. But I have like a video of like every single day of like my 90-day run, like coming into the town, seeing the skylight, you know, like, hey, you know, good morning, Dallas. Here I come, coming into the American Airlines Arena, walking by the truck, seeing all the wrestlers, you know, and I made some awesome videos. And like, no one ever saw them, you know.
So you have them though. You have them?
Yeah, I still have them.
Oh,
I don't know when the right time to put them up is, because I still want more people looking at my page, you know.
Of course.
But I have a lot of stuff like that too, and like I said, archived footage and new footage, and having a lot of fun with it. But want to get more subscribers. More eyes on it so that I can keep doing it.
All I heard at one point was you said RVD and Godfather on a road trip. And immediately I went into must subscribe now, because that's insane. Just even the idea of like a show, a sitcom, road trips of you and the Godfather.
We talked about it. Yeah, this was talked about.
Why isn't TLC or Bravo or A&E or one of these channels grabbing onto this? That's gold.
This hasn't happened yet.
It's coming. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
I love Godfather though. Love
oh my God, he's a very entertaining man. Though there was one thing I was shocked about. It took so long to happen. And RVD rolling papers, RVD CBD. Like, why did it take so long for Rob Van Dam to be, I guess, endorse products attached to marijuana? Was it because of the companies you work for wouldn't legally allow you to do this? Was it based on laws? Like, what was the problem? Someone must have reached out to you before.
Well, at certain times, the contracts that I was under were prohibitive in those areas. But further than that, there used to be no way to control it, right? So like the Medical Kush Beach Club, I'd go down there to Venice Beach and look at their top 3 marijuana strands that they have on a chalkboard. It'd be like RVD, Van Daminator, Rolling Thunder. What is it? You know, he would buy 4 pounds of banana berry kush, just change the name to it, and then sell it as wrestling names to try to sell it more. Anybody could do that. So before, when everybody would always ask, like, when are you going to have your own strand? I'd say, man, you don't know how many fans across the country tell me they've already named their weed after me. So what's the difference? But as it got quasi legal and they started actually being able to make packaging, now you can protect the product and actually get a little creative.
Right.
So as some of my friends were doing that, I started looking into it more, actually having packed, not a plastic bag rolled up and say, hey, this is RVD 420.
Behind the CVS, hey,
Yeah, yeah, but I really, and that's how it was back in California. So
right.
when but then now, with the brand, you have cartoon characters on it, a logo, whatever. I felt like it was time.
Right. Yeah. So there's one story though I did see online. I'm not sure if it's true or not. At your Hall of Fame induction, you did give Vince McMahon RVD rolling papers. Is this true?
That's true. This is true. Yeah.
What did he even know what they were?
No, Trip had to tell him. Triple H had to tell him, and then he had a big belly laugh. He thought it was great.
Because there's a video of you like handing him something, and then him kind of being like, and then suddenly he's like, I'm like, is this the video that I'm thinking?
Triple H says they're rolling papers. Yeah.
Because I remember hearing many jokes from Bruce Pritchard on his podcast about how he didn't know all these catchphrases everyone was using in the 90s, had no idea what they were. But anyways, but with current wrestling going on in the world, there is so many options now for Rob Van Dam. You could go back to WWE if they probably wanted you, Impact Wrestling. But has AEW ever reached out to Rob Van Dam?
Just to not sound redundant, I'm going to go with no comment this time.
No comment. Wow. You just opened up the floodgates. When this airs, everyone's going to be like, did you hear Rob Van Dam's working secretly with AEW? That's what you just did. I just want to let you know that. No, but could we ever see you back in the WWE in any role? Because I know people want you and Riddle as a tag team.
That would be awesome. Yeah. You know what? I kind of feel like if they wanted me there, that I would be there. They would make it so that I would want to be there. And so, I mean, I'm on the front without having just being on the fence and not feeling, hungry or either way, just whatever happens like RVD is, I kind of feel like that. I mean, I don't know what they want to do, what their plan is, what their agenda is for all their talent now. It seems like they want more normal looking people that normal looking people could relate to, maybe, but I really don't even know. It's whatever. But I'm around, and I do have a Legends deal with WWE, which is merchandise related. But I'm not somebody that they call a lot to pop up at a meet and greet or anything, and for whatever reason, maybe they think I don't want to do it and they don't want to bother me, whatever. And for that matter, just like my documentary said, I mean, that was the takeaway from the WWE Icons documentary. For me, the takeaway was that WWE doesn't think that I want it, or that I want it bad enough because of my laid back attitude, and because they think that I would maybe change in ways they wanted me to if I did want it. And so I don't know. I think they kind of got it right, So maybe they just I don't know. But to answer your question, though, honestly, how I feel about it, I say, never say never. Because I am still wrestling a lot more this year than I thought I would. Last year, I only wrestled like twice the whole year. And
why is that though? Why are you only, because you don't need to?
That's probably as good a way to put it as any, so, and because I have a lot of interest outside of it, like for a lot of wrestlers, like they really don't have anything else except for they get like a regular job. And for me, man, I think since I was 21, I don't think that I've maybe 22, somewhere around there though. I don't think I've made a phone call to try to get work. It's always just going through options that are sent to me, offers that are sent to me, and that's what I do, whether it's whether it's people I've worked with before in the past, or whether it's someone contacting me through an email or Twitter or whatever. Like I go through and 90% of it's not going to work out because of my standards. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be able to make it worth what it is to me, because a lot of the guys feel like they got to get out there every single weekend, and I've never been that guy. And those guys run their value down to the ground. My value is still going up the longer I'm in it, So I definitely think that I chose the right path for me. But I also, I don't love it. A lot of guys want to get away from their family and get out on the road, and it may sound great if you're a family guy and you haven't experienced it. You might think, man, that'd be great to just go away, 3 days a week and be able to party with the boys. And it is a lifestyle, but also, like, I've always been homesick and never really subscribed to the boys mentality. When guys are around each other, they're idiots, and I'm not really proud to even be one of them. But for all those reasons, the ones I did last year, one of them was a fundraiser. So it was, to raise money and stuff for this Army veterans, that suicidal awareness. And so, what we were just talking about. So, but this year, a lot of the offers that are coming through are working out so much. I got to raise my standard up again, because I'm so busy. It's been like a rejuvenation, 10, 12 matches, which is, I like having them to keep me in top shape and motivate me to keep working out, keep at my best and everything anyway. But besides that, I have been having fun lately in the ring too.
Yeah. This one time though, I've seen you live many different times, but I drove. So I'm from Boston. I drove to the ECW One Night Stand 2006 to see you defeat John Cena. I sat like 10th row. There's the chair from.
Yes.
So I have it. And that was amazing. Of course, I had long hair then, and it all fell out because I had kids. It's a personal problem, Rob, not your problem. But that night, beating John Cena for the WWE Championship and then becoming the ECW champion to start a brand new brand, what is the feeling, and how long did you know before going to that event that you were actually going to be champion? Day of, a week, a month?
Well, let me answer that part first. I didn't allow myself to believe that it was actually going to happen until it happened.
Yep.
The whole time I'm leaving room for something to mess everything up, all the way up till when I'm jumping up for that 5-star frog splash. I'm thinking, okay, watch, after everything going so perfectly, watch me go to jump up the top rope and trip and fall on my face. I mean, that's what's going through my mind. I'm like, please, everything I got, like I jump up, thank God. All I got to do is, this is real, it's going to happen, and bam. And then when I held the belt, then it was like, yes, now I can believe it. They can't take this moment back from it. This really happened. And obviously, for me, it was great because the build up to that match was really, for me, my whole career. It was me always sticking to the ECW in Extreme Rules, always sticking to that hardcore style, even when everybody wanted to change me, elevating the TV title in ECW and the hardcore title of WWE to main event status, where, there was never meant to be, because I respected the belts that much, and put that much into them. So all of that. And of course, that crowd was irreplaceable. Anywhere in a 30-year plus career, never was there that energy in the room.
I brought you the energy, Rob. I brought you the energy.
I appreciate that very much.
When I found out, so obviously ECW 2005, you're injured, you can't compete. That was a blow. But I think beating John Cena a year later, the face of the company, Mr. WWE for the championship belt, I think that makes up for missing 2005. At least that's how I look at it. But still, beating John Cena, there's not a lot of people who can say, "Oh, I beat John Cena for the WWE Championship." You have Edge and Batista and Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar, but it's like Rob Van Dam, the man, you kind of brought it up. You never want to change who you were. You wanted to keep to exactly how you felt you should be presented and your character. And I always felt like on TV, there was this, well, you can have the IC title or you can have the hardcore title. Hey, go be in a tag team. But here you are beating John Cena. for the WWE Championship at your like own event. It could have been called Mr. Rob Van Dam's pay-per-view because pretty much it felt like it was.
Well, yeah, it was my idea, right?
The first one, I remember hearing about this. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, I don't think that ever would have happened as far as RVD being the number one guy in WWE if everything hadn't happened. I mean, I basically changed the entire playing field by bringing ECW back, and then the success of it validating a third brand and me being the best foot to put forward. I mean, everything was just lined up so good to where, I feel like I'm pretty proud of that moment, that crowning moment of my career. Too bad it didn't last a little longer.
Right. That's kind of where my next question would be going is like, how did that feel with the moment of I have everything, I'm on top of the world to, oh crap. And then they take both belts away from you on TV. Yet on TV, they never mentioned exactly what happened. But as a fan, if you were reading online, you knew what happened. So we don't have to go through that part. But yet, how did that feel? Suddenly you're on top of the world and now you're gone. No titles.
Yeah. Luckily, I never let my ego get to the point to where I really believed like that I was irreplaceable or whatever. Like every year when they do the layoffs and they fire the guys, it's so funny how the wrestling world is shocked. Oh, they let so-and-so go. Oh my God. Cause I never felt like that. I never felt, they had ways of making me feel very humble. I'd go through cycles, where I'm like, okay, I think they appreciate me. And then I'm like, God, do they even know I'm here? Like, why are they, I think it's like that probably for everybody, but so, it wasn't, I think that helped make it not quite as high of a fall. Mm-hmm. But having said that, man, it sucked really bad. And the worst part was the second night, the ECW show in Philadelphia. I mean, that's, those are my people and they're the ones that were with me for the whole ride. And then I go catch the world title. I'm bringing it back to Philly to show them. And here I am on my back, taking a 3 count, and Paul Heyman's making the count. Everybody booed. Everyone was throwing their drinks, into the ring. And once they saw that, it encouraged all kinds of shit. I rolled under the bottom rope and I rolled under the ring. And I was just looking for like a gutter to roll into. Like, wow. I felt like the lowest form of life. Like I was so ashamed. I felt disappointed in myself, and it really didn't feel good.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And then obviously after that, your WWE run, I felt like it was like a straight line versus before it was a slow climb up. Once that happened in that moment, I on TV saw your character in a straight line. Yes, you were always prominent. Yes, you were always showcased, but you weren't going up. You were just staying straight. Is that how you felt?
That's exactly how I felt. And so I didn't know if that was punishment, like if they're trying to make me like pay some dues, because I did drop the ball on their plans for sure. But at the same time, I didn't see any reason to stick around and fight it out. I was already burnt out on the monotony of the travel, and then having my spirit crushed like they did with ECW. That really, meant a lot to me. And there was like, now they used to say ECW means anything goes. That was great. Now ECW means one Extreme Rules match per show, which what? And then they're already having Raw guys and SmackDown guys on the show, flooding the talent pool, making it very confusing, destroying what made ECW special and different. And as I saw that, I was, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to take a break and not re-sign because my contract was coming up.
Yeah.
And like you said, it felt like that. I felt like I was wrestling Big Show a lot, and they were main events on the ECW shows, but it was in front of 500 to 1,000 people, shows that they weren't doing anything with. They weren't advertising. I think that's what they thought was hardcore, was let's just book the same crappy old arenas that ECW used to book, and then use that we'll use that same $100 budget to make flyers and see how it goes. Right. But it was bad, and the paydays reflected it. And I was just like, really, every sign in life was telling me, yeah, we're going to take a break.
Do you think there was always we'll give this a chance, ECW that is, and once there's a hiccup, someone's going to just pull that lever and shut off the lights? Like, it felt like to me, ECW was the underdog in the 90s with WCW and WWE having this giant budget, but yet people were still tuning into ECW. It was hard to watch on TV because it was on like the Spanish channel where I live at like 1 a.m. on Friday nights, but yet WWE, you think, we got this brand, let's do something with it. Do you feel like someone was like, you know what, let's kill this. Let's try it. If it doesn't work one night, we're going to stomp it out good. Is that kind of how you felt?
It sure felt like that. Yeah. Especially when Vince was wearing the championship belt himself. That's what it really felt
and
like.
A do-rag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. But like when it first came out, I think they did give it a chance. People forget when ECW, WWE was first on Sci-Fi. I had some great matches with Bob Holly.
Oh my God.
Beth, Sabu, Big Show. Maybe some other people before, it started before it went downhill. Yeah.
Right. And then we bring up Vince for a moment. So let's talk about that for a second. Vince McMahon has retired from the WWE, and on TV, it seems that there has been a shift in who's getting pushed and who's not getting pushed. Ratings have gone up already. So what are your thoughts on Vince McMahon stepping away from the WWE product that he has had his hands on for so long? Because does this open the door for people like yourself who have a different type of character to suddenly be thrusted forward versus held in your unique spot?
As far as myself goes, I don't know. I like
people like you. Like, I'm not saying yourself, I'm saying like a character who's someone who has different techniques, different style, but obviously that style is not a Vince McMahon style, something like that.
Well, let's say, what if Vince, was on my side and the guy that just took over was the guy that didn't like my character?
Yeah, I've seen those stories appear.
Then maybe not so good for me,
Right.
With John Laurinaitis being gone too, he was my guy. I know a lot of people didn't get along with him. I was wrestling him in Japan in '93, and so I've known him, since then, and I could relate to him in a lot of ways when I was there before, and and he wanted a relationship. I don't like Vince being gone, but it might be, if it's better for business, and that's awesome. I know that a lot of people don't feel the way that I do about it, but I feel more like I probably lost, one of my only people I can imagine stopping by to want to say hello to there.
Wow. Interesting. I recently read a book about ECW, and in the back of it, it showed all the money that was owed to wrestlers. You're the top of the list. And in the year 2000, I got deep into ECW. Unfortunately, suddenly you disappeared from TV and pay-per-views. In the book, it said Paul Heyman owed you about $500,000. And that's why you stepped away, but you did come back for the last ECW pay-per-view against Jerry Lynn in the main event. So you're the last match on the original ECW. Did Paul Heyman owe you $500,000?
Not that I know of. I've never heard that number. And actually, I've never read anything about like any of my paydays, money that I made working for any company. I've never read an accurate report of it. Like sometimes the numbers are so far off that I'm like, did someone just make that up? Or
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. No. So the way I remember it, first off, it was a very loose number. I was getting paid. I had a salary I was getting paid to wrestle. So every 2 weeks I'd get this pretty nice check. But I wasn't getting the extra incentives, the royalties, merchandise, percentage, or pay-per-view bonuses. We're supposed to get a piece of the buy rate. I wasn't getting that stuff, and that was starting to add up. So although he was taking care of me pretty good, it still felt like the longer I was there, the deeper hole I was digging for myself. And so that's why eventually I was like, look, I'm not going to be getting paid this. And I don't even look like the company is going to be around much longer. So, you know, when I left, I think it was just before their last show, if I'm not mistaken. But the very loose number though was 150 grand.
Okay. Okay. Because again, there are so many books about ECW. So,
Yeah.
and this is the first one. I don't want to give the title away because I don't want to be like, oh, this is wrong. Though in the back of it, it has all these numbers, and you start reading them, you're like, oh my God, no wonder Rob left.
Hey,
Like,
but I mean, it's question marks. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the accounting papers that say what each pay-per-view did, you know, and I don't even remember what my percentage of the pay-per-view was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of it's question mark and guesswork and rounded off, and it could be way off, but I've never heard that number.
I did go to Twitter and ask, hey, again, a question for Rob Van Dam. I'm going to talk to him. And I like this question from Ben Off Hours. Did other wrestlers have a problem with you wrestling high, especially back in the 90s and 2000s before cannabis became more widely accepted? Now, I guess let's confirm, were you high in those matches? And were the wrestlers upset?
Well, see now, in order to answer this in the most honest way, I have to first point out that high is very subjective.
Okay, very good. So it's not like you're sitting around taking, blunts, joints, bowls. Like high, I'm guessing is a couple puffs. Not high. What you were doing before matches, I'm guessing a couple puffs. I have no idea.
And let me stop you there. So you automatically want to base the quantity of how much has been smoked to how high somebody is, but there's so many other factors. The number one being the tolerance of that person.
Yes,
you
true.
I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But people don't realize that. They just want to. They think when like you, I was smoking during this. You know what I mean? I don't feel any different than I did before I smoked it. You know, just a little bit of a stress relief. But people in their mind are going to imagine, dude, he's so baked, you can't even look at him, man. He's got to wear sunglasses. And that's, sometimes I have to cater towards that in order to advocate and to normalize and to counter the negative agendaed opposition.
It's fine. Well, wrestlers in the 90s and 2000s, when you wrestled them, was anyone upset the fact that you indulge before matches?
Right. Probably. I don't know.
No one ever said like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to drop me or something. Like, I'm not saying you were and you were going to, but I imagine somebody who's not on the same side of what you're on is going to say like, this is crap. What are you doing out there? Like, what if something goes wrong? And they'll blame that on you versus just a slip up.
Yeah. I can think of one person that I accused of that because somebody stooged on me, and I went to that person and accused them of them, saying that they got hurt because they thought I was high or whatever, and they denied it. Besides that, I can't remember, if it has. It's possible, but I mean, nothing stands out in my mind, so I don't think. I don't think there's been any memorable issues. Every once in a while, I'm not someone that could say I've never hurt anybody in my career. Some like Bret Hart prides himself on that. I've busted some noses, I've knocked some people out. And sometimes after the match, until I talk to that person, I don't know if they're going to want to fight. I don't know, especially if I don't know the person that well. So I don't want to take my boots off yet. I keep my boots on and I keep ready and sometimes it takes a long time, but during those situations, I can't think of ever going south and them saying that it was because I was inebriated.
Right. I got a couple more questions for you. One, though, involves Shane McMahon. You invented a move in ECW where you would climb up. In WWE call it coast to coast, but you invented it first, the Van Terminator. You'd climb up on the apron, you jump off the rope, and you fly across the ring, and you pretty much kicking them in the face while they're in the corner laying down with a chair with Bill Alfonso holding it. In the WWE, they use, I guess, tin foil trash cans, whatever those things are made out of. Though you invented that move very late in 2000 on Scotty Anton, actually. I remember that.
Dude, what a moment. That was actually one of my favorite moments in my career.
You did the clap. I love it. Yeah. He's like, I have the clap. I'm like, you shouldn't be yelling that out loud.
Right. But the fact that the crowd had no idea what this move was, they were just ready for it, because I promoted it and said, I got a new move, Van Terminator. And then they saw the setup, they recognized. I hit the Van Daminator, I hit the frog splash. And I was obviously, instead of pinning him, getting ready to go for whatever it was. And so for everyone to just be, they were like, Terminator. And that was just so great, like, to have that support. And then I'm like, okay, well, they're all ready for this move. I certainly hope I don't disappoint, nailed it, bam. And the crowd went crazy. Score.
That was nuts. That again, that was one of the best things. And we, as kids who grew up in the 90s, who all had backyard wrestling federations, we did try that on our friends, even though they say do not try us at home. And we all did it with I remember doing it with like a blue like snow shovel. That's my chair and get my friend right in the face with it. But though, when you saw this appear in WWE TV before you were there, what were your thoughts?
I wasn't happy, it's a bummer, but at the same time, it's not like he can own. I mean, it's amazing anyway, like I said at the start of this interview, I think it's amazing to think that I could come up with some moves that nobody's even ever seen before. Like, that's so amazing. But I'm still seeing moves every once in a while that I haven't seen, and I'm watching people nowadays, and every once in a while I'm like, damn, man, I wish I would have thought of that. But when I saw it, I don't think I saw the actual show live, if it was on WrestleMania or whatever, but I saw the either the tweets or whatever we had at the time afterwards, and people want to know my comments, and it sucked because I knew that a lot of people didn't get to see me do it in ECW because our TV wasn't as strong as WWE. So I thought, man, everyone's going to think that he invented that, and besides that, it was just something that, just kind of had to eat it, just swallow it and be like, well, what am I going to do? Get angry? Grr, it's just, but I learned that Heyman gave it to him. Heyman showed him a video of me and said, you think you can do this?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which makes me think there's a good chance he might have given Riddle, bro, the RKO 420 too, maybe.
Interesting. Because again, a generation of fans might not know what happened 20 years ago because they'd have to go back and do the research and find out, versus seeing it in a video package on an episode of Raw or SmackDown or NXT or a pay-per-view. And obviously they're not going to show you inventing a move over Shane McMahon. So again, that was, I remember watching it and I was like, it was WrestleMania 17, by the way, 2001. There was no Twitter then. I'm not even sure if MySpace was a thing yet. You're probably in a chat room. You're probably in an AOL chat room where someone was like writing to you on it. I'm guessing. Yeah. But again, one more question for you is, everyone probably asks you, and I did go on your YouTube channel. I did watch your video that you posted recently about your Fountain of Youth comment, where people were like, yes, it's true. I do look this good. And everyone, I think, still wants to know, like, how do you stay in shape the way you are, the flexibility that you are? Your face hasn't changed. How is this possible?
My face is a little bit taller. Consistency.
Is it like food you're eating? Like, is it your regiment?
I think, genetics have to play a role. I don't think you can rule that out. But next to that, it has to be lifestyle. And in my lifestyle, I've always consistently kind of taken my own path and ignored what, what everyone has always told me would be best for me, then most of those guys aren't even around anymore. And I really think that's it. I've always I never quit working out, and then started again back in a couple of years. It's just always, I have taken, maybe up to a couple of weeks off because I had to, and maybe did a few push-ups on the floor or whatever, but because of travel or restrictions. But I've never once I accepted that was part of my lifestyle, it's just always been part of my lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cannabis is a big part of it, man. Jack Harrer, it's the name of a strand now. People don't know that was a real guy. He was a friend of mine, my mentor. He was he had this thick book, like an old fashioned phone book size, called the Emperor Wears No Clothes. And he sold it everywhere, but he would give it away too, just because he wanted everyone to know. He was so passionate about the knowledge. And that's how I know that there was over 25,000 uses for the cannabis seed. It was the most resourceful seed on the entire planet. Henry Ford made a car out of hemp, and it ran on hemp seed oil.
Wow.
Yeah, introduced it to the World Fair in like 41 or 42. And obviously that didn't destroy the planet enough for us to make enough profit. So we didn't go with that. But you can replace like 80% of everything. I knew before talking to him about the wood in the walls, but I didn't know not just that, the wood, the paint, the lacquer, whatever you call it, the brush, everything. You can eat it, wash your hair with it. It's crazy. But anyway, he told me that it can extend your expected longevity.
Wow.
He said, what more do people fucking want? You can live longer. And so I always remember that. It always made sense to me because stress is the number one enemy to human health. And it comes in different forms, like while you're having a great time raising your kids, they're also aging you.
Yes. I mean? They are aging me. I have a third one on the way too. I got a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a baby on the way. So they're probably going to do a number on their dear old dad, but what are you going to do?
Congratulations.
Thank you. What a wonderful day. Hearing Rob Van Dam congratulate me on having a baby. Oh my God. Yeah, life is perfect. And Rob Van Dam, I just want to say it's been a pleasure and honor to talk to you. Again, I was there in 2006 when you beat John Cena for the championship belt. I got the chair.
My back.
Let me tell you something. Dragging that thing through a place I've never been, trying to find my hotel in the dark at 11:30 at night was a bit scary. So
I steal it from you.
Let's see. And then let's people try to, let's see if your face is on it too. Oh, you're grabbing the Money in the Bank briefcase. Actually, I can't take that out. Or actually, you know what? We'll just do it. Here we are.
It's the unpainted version.
Yeah. So you got you grabbing when you won Money in the Bank at I'm gonna guess WrestleMania 22. You won the second Money in the Bank, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, 2006. So you did it, fought John Cena. But again, thank you. I was like getting up. I'm all disheveled. Everyone saw me wearing shorts.
No worries.
Folks, thank you so much for being here. Rob Van Dam on NBC's 10 Count. It was a pleasure. A very educational one as well. We learned so many things today. So I hope everyone learned something today about wrestling and about cannabis. So thank you so much, Rob. And folks, we will see you next time for another edition of NBC's 10 Count with Rob Van Dam. Bye.
Real RVD.